Good afternoon. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jarrod Horak. This is our video feature race of the week. We're coming to the end of the Kentucky Derby prep season, and this week's feature race is going to be the 11th race from OAKLAWN Park, the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, and the 3-year-olds are going to be going 9 furlongs on the main track. Let's start from the inside. The Truth or Else is going to break from the inside post. He's going to add blinkers today. He ran a good race a couple starts back. He was second in the Southwest. That was his first start as a 3-year-old. And then last time in the Rebel Stakes, he ended up finishing 4th. Now in the Southwest, he came from well off the pace. In the Rebel Stakes, there wasn't as much pace. He was down on the inside on that wet track, and he ended up finishing a flat 4th. But he does put the blinkers on, and he did have a bullet work at OAKLAWN Park on April 1st. MR.Z is going to break next to him. He was 9th, beaten 20 lengths in the Louisiana Derby. Very disappointing effort. They tried to qualify for the Kentucky Derby there. I think they're kind of going to try to throw him in this race to try to get in any last-second points so that they can qualify for the Derby. He's going to put the blinkers back on, has lost his last 10 starts, and he's probably going to be a pace factor before most likely fading. He's just not in his best form right now. BRIDGET'S Big LUVY is the next one. This one won the private term stakes at 9 furlongs in the mud. He's actually won twice on a wet track. It's probably going to be a fast track this time. They put blinkers on his last start, and he did show good speed. He's probably going to be part of the pace. He had a local bullet on April 15th. MADEFROMLUCKY was second in the Rebel Stakes for Todd Pletcher. I actually liked him second that day. I had the cold exacta on our video. American Pharaoh over MADEFROMLUCKY. Don't like him as much today. Now he's going to be overbet. I don't think, just based on speed figures, he's not that much better than the rest. American Pharaoh seems to stand out from a speed figure standpoint. The rest are pretty bunched up, and MADEFROMLUCKY is going to take too much money, but he will sit. He should sit a decent technical trip. Bold Conquest will be the next one. He was 4th in the Southwest and then 3rd in the Rebel. His numbers have just basically been flat. I don't think he's really getting much better, but he can contend for a minor award. American Pharaoh, obviously the one to beat in here. He's probably going to go right to the front, just like he did in the Del Mar Futurity in his second career start. Now he lost his debut, and then in the Del Mar Futurity, he got loose on an easy lead. He won that one easily. He got loose in the front runner stakes at Santa Anita. Easy win there. Came off of a layoff in the Rebel Stakes on a wet track, got loose, no speed, and he romped again. He's been rating kindly on the front end. He's very rateable, at least when he can get the lead. Now we'll have to see if he doesn't get the lead, if he's as rateable. But at this point, he just stands out in this race. He's just better than these horses. Far Right is another one that's probably going to take too much money. He'll be coming from well off the pace. He won the Smarty Jones Stakes and the Southwest Stakes. A big threat from off the pace to at least hit the board, but he's not going to offer any value. And then Win the Space is a maiden rounding out the field. Has 2 career starts, 2 third-place finishes, going to stretch out in distance and from the outside post. Now, American Pharaoh is the one to beat, and we're going to go with a cold exacta just like we did in the Rebel Stakes, but we're going to pick a different horse this time. The Truth or Else is going to be the one we're going to go for. Again, I thought that was a very nice effort in the Southwest Stakes. That was a career best speed figure for him that day. And then he regressed in the Rebel. He was down on the inside. It was a paceless race. In the Southwest, he came from well off the pace. In the Rebel, he was much closer to a slow pace. He lost his punch. He got a lot of mud kicked on him. So now, hopefully, it'll be a fast track, because he did break his maiden on a fast track. Working well. Hopefully, the blinkers will help him as well. Calvin Burrell on the rail. I think he's just as good as any of the other runners. He's going to offer value, and I think he can finish second here. So we'll take a $40 one-way exacta American Pharaoh over the Truth or Else. Let's go back and look at last week's big prep races. Starting with the Will Memorial, and it was nice to see Frosted get the job done there. Now, I played him in Pool 1 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wagers. He's been part of my Kentucky Derby contenders list since I started that list last September, and he's moved up nicely. That was a good win. He showed a new dimension as well. He'd been closer to the pace in his other starts. In the Will Memorial, he was wide, he was well off the pace, and he rallied to win nicely. He got a good speed figure as well. So now all of a sudden, that Fountain of Youth has been forgotten, and he's a solid Derby contender. Carpe Diem won the Bluegrass easily. He looked like a standout on paper, just like the Tampa Bay Derby, and this was deja vu all over again. He just dominated this race as well. His speed figures aren't as fast as some of the other Derby contenders, but those last 2 races, he just was a complete standout on paper, and I think they have him primed to run a really big race on the first Saturday in May if he's good enough. Dortmund dominated the Santa Anita Derby just like he dominated the San Felipe. Went right out to the front, was never really challenged. He's earned some nice speed figures. And the big difference between Dortmund and his stablemate American Pharaoh that's running in the Arkansas Derby is Dortmund's already been battle tested. He did win his last 2 starts easily, going wire to wire, but he was tested in some other races. He came off the pace. Firing Line tested him thoroughly twice, and he was able to overcome. It looked like he was going to lose one of those races against Firing Line in the Robert Lewis, but he was able to come on again and beat that one. So Dortmund's battle tested, American Pharaoh isn't, and it would be nice to see American Pharaoh get a test. Hopefully he will be tested in that Arkansas Derby. It would be nice maybe if he didn't get the lead, and we'll see how he reacts, because in a 20-horse field on the Kentucky Derby, you can't expect just everything to go your way. If you go over to horseracingnation.wordpress.com, you can see my updated Kentucky Derby contenders list each Friday. Last week I did Wood Memorial written analysis, and I had Frosted on top there. This week I'm going to do the Lexington Stakes as my written analysis. So go over to horseracingnation.wordpress.com. I'll have that Lexington analysis there on Friday, along with my updated Derby list. Now, 5 of my top 6 Kentucky Derby contenders have been on my list since last September, so they've really been able to stay healthy and do well. Carpe Diem, Frosted, International Star, American Pharaoh, and El Kabir. 5 of my top 6 horses been on that list since last September. You can follow Horse Racing Nation and Derby Wars on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. I'll go over to DerbyWars.com for Saturday's big day for Arkansas Derby. We have a big $20,000 game on the docket at DerbyWars.com. And that'll wrap up this week's video. Until next week, good luck at the races.